it is worth something in life to pursue an outcome that's not guaranteed and to grow in the journey, to gain so much in the journey and still not get the goal, not get the outcome. I've lived that. Hey dancers, it's Kirsten. Welcome back to Twin Talks Ballet. If you don't know me, I am a former professional ballet dancer and now a mindset coach for dancers, helping dancers to attain a healthy and confident mindset that fuels their highest and best level of personal performance so they can dance with confidence and joy. Who doesn't want that? I know I definitely wanted that when I was a dancer, and I did not have guidance in that area, so I seek to be that source of guidance for dancers. Today, I want to make a video that is really long overdue. I've gotten a lot of questions that really boil down to the same question, which is, can I make it as a professional dancer? I train 2.5 hours a day, 4 days a week. Can I make it as a professional dancer? I have been dancing since I was 9 and I decided I want to be a professional when I was 16. Can I make it as a professional dancer? I've made it into these summer intensives, but not these. Or, hey, can you look at my Instagram pictures and tell me if you think I'll make it as a dancer? I want to say very lovingly that I can't tell anyone a truthful answer on that. You know why? Because I don't know what your future holds. Now, hey, I've made videos before that I will link in the cards in the description that really lay out the most normal and common things that it takes to be a dancer. I've talked here and there about, average training schedules and career paths that kind of get people into the professional realm. You're free to check those out if you haven't already. But really, I wanted to make this video to guide you through 5 questions that I think are really, really important to ask yourself that lead to personal clarity and insight. A lot of the dancers that I've worked with as a mindset coach experience a big lack of belief in themselves, low self-esteem, and a lot of insecurities coming from experiences that they've had with teachers who tell them, I don't think you have the body for ballet, you have a body for contemporary, so you should basically just pursue that. Teachers who I think are coming from a place of trying to be well-intentioned in seeking to just tell the dancer, basically, give up now so you don't hurt yourself. I'm trying to protect you, that kind of a thing. I would never want to be that teacher who says, I know what's possible and what's not for you. I've seen dancers who have the perfect body never make it into a professional career. Or I've seen the dancers who honestly look like they have flat feet and kind of bad technique, like transform and over years of training, really develop a beautiful sense of line and musculature and artistry that actually makes them a beautiful professional dancer. I have a specific friend in mind who kind of was that way, now has been dancing very successfully with a professional company, getting soloist roles for years and years and years. I have seen with my own 2 eyes that more is possible than we think, and we cannot predict who will or won't become a professional dancer. I was that dancer who was born with pigeon-toed feet. My feet were actually turned in, and I made it into a professional company. There are all sorts of different variables that go into helping someone get into that level. I'm not here to pretend that any one of us can know what is or isn't possible or good for another person. So instead, I want to walk you through these questions to help you determine for yourself, do you really want this? And what are you willing to do for it? Even if you didn't get that professional contract, what would it be worth it for you to try? And these are all questions that I think are really important to ask yourself to gain that clarity, that insight, and that sense of almost surrender to the outcome in a way. So if and why it's important for you to just give it a shot, and you can feel like you are still achieving something in the process. And whether or not you get that title slapped on you at the, in your 20s of, you get the contract or you don't, you're a professional, you're not, you still spent your life pursuing something meaningful for you. So instead of asking me or someone else, is it possible for me to become a professional dancer? Which, by the way, I think is a reasonable question in some context, but I'm just basically saying, don't trust a stranger or even a teacher who knows you very well to tell you like end all be all, yes or no, because none of us know. I've had friends who have been told, oh, you'll make it, you'll make it, you'll make it, blah, blah, blah. And really, they were never even super passionate about a career in the first place. They were just pumped up with all this like grooming of, oh, you're just made to do ballet. I have a friend personally who discovered she didn't even know if she liked ballet in the end, and she had a very successful professional career, but she was just kind of groomed into it as a child and never really got to ask herself or be asked, like, do you really want this? If you've had teachers tell you like, oh, you're going to be a professional, oh yeah, this is going to work out for you, oh, you have the body, yeah, this is probably going to work. That's also, I think, A, a false sense of certainty because none of us know. B, it could be really swaying you to pursue this because we're all very impressionable, and usually when we get that sort of praise from others, we like that and we want to just keep going towards it, but maybe this isn't, something that's right for you. So the first question is, what will it reasonably take for me to get the kind of career I want and think is best for me? This is where the other videos I've made, if you haven't already watched them, again, they'll be linked in the description. This is where I think those will be helpful to watch, because it is important to know what goes into becoming a professional. It's not just about the body you were born into, but it also takes money. It takes years of training, a certain personality, I think, if I'm being honest, for it to not only be feasible, but also personally worth it and enjoyable for a dancer to make it into the professional realm. Also, I included in this question the term, the kind of career I want and think is best for me, because I want to add that context of there are so many different ways to be a professional dancer. So if you're really dead set on, I want that title, I want performing to be my job, and you just want that lifestyle, which I really honestly think that being a professional dancer comes down to you want the lifestyle, I'd say, because you can obviously perform with a recreational company and it provides the same outcome of performing. So I'll say, if you really, 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 really love performing, being a professional isn't your only option for exercising that love of performing. Now, if you really want that lifestyle of being a professional dancer, maybe it would make a professional career a fit for you. But I wanted to add this context because there are so many different companies that provide different lifestyles, different work environments, different hours, and companies who have different values. There are lots of companies, which I think is amazing now, who value diversity. And so there are companies that are specifically looking for dancers of all types, all shapes and sizes to make more interesting art, and then there are some companies that are very much more strictly, purely classical. And if that's what you love, like I totally loved that as a dancer, then yeah, go for it. But don't be fooled in thinking that happiness is exclusively dancing for American Ballet Theater. Please, people, there are so many different companies that you could get that professional title and that experience, but you would be so unhappy there. You would be very unappreciated there. That's also why it's important to know what you have to offer as a dancer, because what you have to offer, like it's important to know that so you know also the kind of company that will appreciate and nurture those things you have to offer. Because just because you get in a company doesn't mean you will be prosperous there. Question number 2. What would I have to do and not do to reach this goal? And how worth it is it for me to make these sacrifices? I don't think I have to describe this question too much, but it is really one to ponder. It's one that I very much labored over when I was a teenager, trying to decide if this is really what I wanted to do. And I'm so glad I mulled through that, because even when I was a teenager, there was still like this strange misconception that you couldn't go to college if you're going to be a dancer, which I did, or you can't like get married or have children, like very silly things. Now I know many dancers who have done that, but I was really contemplating, like, what would I have to sacrifice? What would I get to do, but what would I not get to do? Like in the training process, not just if I got the career, but like now while I'm training, what would I have to sacrifice? And how worth it is it for me to make those sacrifices? This is something only you can answer for yourself, and it's based off of knowing yourself and what's important to you and what you are willing to do and not do in order to reach your goal. Question number 3. What specifically is important to me about attaining a professional career? And part 2 to this question is, what do I believe this career path can give me that another career path can't? I think the second part to that question is especially revealing because it can be very intimidating to contemplate for a lot of dancers, but it is important to look in the face. Like, is ballet really the end all be all? I used to think it was the end all be all, and I didn't want to consider anything else because I thought if I considered any other path, then that would be like cheating on ballet or giving up or like dancing with the dark side of getting distracted. But hey, it's important to be truthful about, like, is there something else for you? Is ballet really it for you? Or could you be happy exercising your love for ballet another way, or some other way you could be spending your time? And the first part of the question is important, of what specifically is important to me about attaining a professional career, because that is exactly something I would spend plenty of time in a mindset coaching session on, like with a dancer who's kind of discerning their career path. It's super important when you're making decisions to know your values. In other words, what are important driving, motivating factors for you in how you live your life and what decisions you make. So, for example, my answers to the question of what specifically is or was important to me about attaining a professional career, some answers to that were, I have to kind of think back into my mind at that time, but it was probably something like personal achievement. The value of achievement is a really high value for me, and I just loved the challenge of ballet, and it's something that I really set my eyes on, and it's something I kind of more or less felt called to do, and I just really went for it because I wanted that satisfaction of achievement that I also felt in a little sense every day I danced, and I wanted to continue to live that out, and I wanted to live out my value for achievement in the greater sense of knowing that I worked years. I worked for 16 years to get that goal, and I finally did. Okay, question number 4. This one gets real, okay, which is, if I didn't achieve a professional contract, would it be worth it for me to still try? And if so, why? Again, not a question that requires a ton of explanation, but I really encourage you guys to be very honest with yourselves when you're sitting down and answering this question. Journal through it, like really take some time. I've guided many coaching clients through this question, specifically clients that are kind of discerning if they want to continue pursuing ballet or not. That's not all the clients I work with. A lot are already in the professional career or they're pre-professional. But for the dancers who are facing that emotional question of like, is this really worth it for me? If I didn't attain my goal, would it still be worth it for me to try? If you're able to answer it well, it is so freeing, so freeing. It requires that you're deeply honest with yourself, which can be scary, and it does require a sense of surrender. It also helps you get to the truth that, we all kind of have to be surrendered to our result in life to a certain extent. We can't always control our outcomes, people. There are things that are outside of our control, and we need to know, instead of driving ourselves crazy trying to pursue certainty where we can't have it, we need to know, like, is it still worth it for me in the face of uncertainty to keep going? Hey dancers, I wanted to just briefly pause before we go on to the next point in this video to talk about unique ways that I would be happy to help you as a mindset coach for dancers and also the creator of a unique program called the Mindset Plus Movement Technique Accelerator program. So this program is really a series of private lessons held over Zoom where I combine the power of high-level technical instruction that allows you to make key shifts in your technique using kinesiologically sound principles that help you to actually improve quite quickly, working with the knowledge of how your body actually works and empowering you with knowledge for how to create change in things like your turnout, your extensions, whatever you are particularly frustrated or insecure about in your technique. I want to help you with that. And I also bring into these sessions mindset coachings, because so often what is actually inhibiting us from not only improving in our technique, but being confident in the dancers we see in the mirror is our mind. So I love that I created this program, which really has a holistic approach to help dancers increase their confidence and also see a noticeable and quick improvement in their technical abilities. This is perfect for you if you're at that pre-professional level, or also just a really passionate recreational dancer and you want to see an improvement in your technique, maybe during spring break or prior to going to a summer program, or really at any point that you really want a boost in your training. This program is perfect for you. So if you're interested, visit KirstenKemp.com. Link is in the description, where you can learn a lot more about the features of this program, how it works, and apply. Okay, question number 5 is my favorite. It's, do I really need a professional title to express my love for ballet and to be happy? Again, another brutally honest question, but it can also be so freeing once you really answer it. And hey, if you answer this question and you determine, yeah, I totally still can be happy without the professional title, that also doesn't mean that you need to give up and stop pursuing a professional title. Because hey, if you really want that and it's worth the sacrifice, it's worth working towards the goal, even though it's not guaranteed, by all means, you can still do it. I still did it. My answer to this question was yes, and also yes, I want to pursue a professional career. And that is totally okay, but it's so freeing to acknowledge that life doesn't end if you don't get it. Because that's the truth. And as much as that scarcity mindset that is, running around like the plague in the ballet industry of like, ballet is life, ballet is everything, you have to be a professional to be successful, you have to look like this, like all that is truly ridiculous, and it's not true. You can still be a happy person if you choose to be in another life path. But knowing that you choose ballet anyway is so freeing. You choose it. You don't have to have it or else. You choose it. And that's really what I want to help you get to in these questions. Getting you to that place of, I choose ballet because I love it, or I'm going to let it go because I'm being honest with myself, or I'm just going to let go of that extreme desperation and attachment to this outcome, but I'm still going to pursue it because I want to. That is so freeing, y'all. So anyway, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. I would highly recommend that you take time with these questions, pause, write them down, or hey, I'll just list them in the description. You can copy and paste and just, put it in a Google Doc and just start typing out your answers. Be really honest with yourself. This is kind of like a coaching session that I just broke down for you. I gave you the questions and now you get to go through some self-discovery, and I would love to hear what comes of it for you. Know that I'm rooting for you, and that if this is something you want, well, first, I can't tell you whether or not you'll make it, but I can tell you that if you really love this, it is worth something in life to pursue an outcome that's not guaranteed, and to grow in the journey, to gain so much in the journey, and still not get the goal, not get the outcome. I've lived that. And I know for a fact, like at least for me, life can be so rich. You can gain so much in the process, and then at the end recognize that the journey wasn't about the end goal. It was about something else. So hey, just wanted to provide that encouragement. I hope you really enjoyed this video, and make sure to like the video if you did, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next week. Bye.